We're only 5 days into Black History Month, and already Republicans are just the worst. Colorado State Representative Ken DeGraff isn't happy with the State House of Colorado attempting to pass a resolution that would do something crazy. Honor Black History Month, that's it. Here's his take on why that's so.
Unlike the consensus non-science of Darwin's theory, which considers a race to be a primary characteristic, with darker skin being indicative of a lower level of evolution, it's non-science, 100%. But it's taught in our schools and celebrated by many in this room. I do agree that the history of all Americans, regardless of phenotype, be interwoven, because partial history is not correct history, and you cannot learn valid lessons from false history. We could, or should, talk about how the first owner of a chattel slave was a free man of African descent. Or how the blood and treasure of Britain and the United States, trillions in today's dollars, went into fighting the slave trade that was promulgated by African American and Arabian empires who had based their economies.
Representative DeGraff, I'm going to put us in a brief recess. Thank you.
Dear God, he's just great. He's the best person to have at a party. Okay, so because of Darwin, we don't have to respect Black History Month, okay? Because something primary characteristic something. I don't know what genetics has to do with literally any of this, dude. It's like a holiday. It's to make sure that people acknowledge the cultural and educational and political and economic contributions of a group of people, regardless of what Darwin has to say about it, okay? And I shouldn't need to explain this to him because he already does understand this. We don't just pass these sorts of resolutions in state houses to recognize groups based on genetic characteristics. They had already done in 2016, 2020, 2022 resolutions to recognize Women's History Month. They were able to do that unanimously. There was no big controversy about chattel slavery or whatever. In 2023, the resolution for Italian American Heritage Month passed unanimously. That was just last year. And I know what you're thinking, well, that's surely genetic. I mean, look at the mustaches on those people and the way they gesture with those hands. That's gotta be a genetic thing. But what about in 2017, when Motorcycle Safety Awareness Month had a resolution passed in support of it unanimously? All of those things were fine. But the second it's Black History Month, the most annoying guy in your poli-sci class stands up to start talking about how white people aren't responsible, get off my back and all that. Francesca, what do you think?
Did you know though, the first motorcycle accident was actually promulgated by another motorcyclist that ran into them? So honestly, we should stop talking about like motorcyclists and have an awareness month about them, because it's the motorcycles on motorcycle crime. Oh my God, like I'm sorry, but like there's a theme to today, and it is like white people are racist. A lot of them in power. Who elects this guy? I just looked into his past. He like flew commercial airplanes. Like that's very scary to me. All right, I don't want racist white dudes riding, flying my plane. Okay, I don't want that. But like, he is echoing every single white nationalist talking point that we've heard time and again. You say, hey, let's honor African Americans this month, their history, their contribution, their contributions to all levels, arts, sciences. Let's talk about their whatever, anything, sports, everything. No, because the first people to own slaves were also Black. Literally a white nationalist talking point that they just invented.
He doesn't even really go that far. He just says the first person. There was one, and so I didn't read past that. I guess that's pretty much how it went the rest of the time too. I suppose that's pretty much what American slavery was like. It's just such a stupid person point to make that does not actually make the larger point that you're trying to make. But then he does go bigger. One person owning a slave isn't really a great point. But what about his other point, which is that slaves were in many cases rounded up and sold by African, or he's saying like Arab nations or something like that. Okay, that's a bigger problem. The people who did that in those countries are very bad people. And that is a major cultural and historic problem for their countries. This is our country. We do concern ourselves more with what we did in our country than with what other people did in other countries.
They did it. The black guy laughed at my racist joke. It's not racist. They did the slavery first. It's not actually bad. Like, they're three.
Still bad.
These are toddlers. Not even a toddler has more empathy.
Yeah.
Still bad. Exactly.
By the way, it ends, thankfully, I guess, with a bit of good news, which is that it passed, just not unanimously. There was one vote against it. Do you know who it was? It was DeGraff. It was that guy.
Oh, God.
I love that he was alone. It's the state he deserves to be in all cases.
And now we have this clip forever. Like, that's the other thing. It's like, dude, nobody used to pay attention to these people, these like random Colorado State reps. Now we have now we just did a video on it. We're gonna pull this up when he tries to run for higher office.
100%. And the joke is gonna be on him because he's gonna run for Senate and we're gonna play this and he's gonna win office and there.
Yeah, we'll just
sucks.
Yeah, we'll just be right though. Is that something?
But we will be right.
Okay.
Right is good. For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/thedamagereport. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.